Welcome back. We are back at Peaky Pave, and it is a beautiful day to be racing here in Metopia. And we're off. So we had 11 people join the race today. It is a bit of a smaller group as the Zwift games comes to an end, so I wasn't sure what to expect today. But we get off the line here, and quickly the watts plummet into a very easy pace. As you can see, we are only averaging at around 215, which for a race here is a joke. It's clear that no one wants to take control here, and people are in no rush to push the pace, which for a longer race is honestly fine for now.
We hit the first set of rollers here, and the pack was antsy to pick up the pace. Some solid watts through here, but not enough to take any souls. However, souls will be taken in due time.
Took the lead real quick.
Not too much happens in here. We finally pick up the pace to a respectable speed, but the pack stays together and we are just grinding through the flats here as a group. Despite there being no real despair factor here, our first soul is taken as C. Nunes decides to drop out of the race. Better luck next time, boss. Now that C. Nunes is gone, we finally start to get in a grove and lock in at a solid pace with our average watts staying at around 270. Not too much goes on in here. Everyone is just sticking together, mentally pre-pruing for the first big climb to come. In these final moments before the big climb, we get the classic pace reduction as people preserve their energy to go hard on the hill. On the climb here, my goal is to just stick with the pack and try to preserve as much energy as possible for the final climb. We are not pushing any crazy wattage through here. Yet I start to feel fatigued and begin to get in my head wondering if I might end up like C. Nunes. Then as we go up the final climb here, some riders decide to crank up the heat. I stick with the pack at the start here, but slowly they begin to create a gap. Here is where the gap begins to form, and slowly but surely a despair factor begins to kick in. I begin to question my ability today, April 2nd, as a Zwifter. The despair does not hit me alone. As you can see, another soul is taken here as P. Hartman decides he can no longer bear the pain, and he quits the race. Will I face the same fate, I wonder? The gap continues to grow, and the despair is overwhelming. I should use my feather, but I am here to win, so I want to save it for the end. But not using it now could end up costing me the race. I tell myself I can't go out like this. I have to stick with the pack. So I get out of the saddle and crank the watts well into the 500s to bridge the gap between me and the lead pack. If I get dropped now, there is no hope. I have to catch them now. They decide to keep the wattage up over the top of the knoll here too, though. I am failing to catch up. My only hope now is to catch them on this downhill. Due to my weight, I perform better on the downhill than most. So I figure if I can maintain low 300s through the downhill, while they are likely resting, I can use my weight and a little added energy to bridge the gap. And luckily they decide to slow the pace on the downhill, and my plan works. After all is said and done, only 4 warriors remain in the lead pack. My morale is rather low considering I almost got dropped. I begin to question my ability to actually win this race and become worried that I may not properly recover from that hill. Just as I feel I am properly recovering and I may be able to be a force in this race, things get interesting as Nanethu decides that he is better than the rest of us and takes off. The rest of us don't react all that well and kind of just hope that he will slow down. I try and crank a little to keep us within striking distance, but it's not enough. The other guys then decide they don't want to let Nmathu break away from the pack, and they crank it up. But me's legs so tired, and I begin to fall behind the pack. At this point, I am a full 4 seconds back from the main pack. Those guys really cranked it. I was probably averaging like 335 watts there and still got dusted. I am nervous now, unsure if I can bridge the gap. But I don't lose hope, and rely on my ability to maintain low 300s in hopes that they are tired and will let up on the pace a little. And what do you know? Slowly but surely, I reel them right back into my grasp. I am glad that I did not panic, and managed to efficiently make my way back to the group.
Took the lead real quick.
I think we were all a bit tired from the latest fiasco, and we kind of enter a game of chicken, where we all slow down significantly, and no one wants to lead up the pack. The game of chicken finally ends when we find ourselves at this little knoll here. The pack picks up the pace. Luckily, I actually managed to recover fairly well during the game of chicken, and I am honestly not feeling all that bad anymore. The morale is rising and the confidence is slowly coming back.
Took the lead here real quick.
But I am feeling rather good. I know it's flats until the final hill here. I am thinking everyone is just going to take it easy until the hill. However, I feel that if everyone is super healthy when we get to the hill, that due to my skill set, I won't be in a great position to win. As stated before, I am a heavier rider, so I have a disadvantage on the hills. Also, I'm still not that great when it comes to those shorter yet higher wattage berths. I do best when the wattage is fairly high, like around 325, but it maintains at that. Not periodically going to like 550, which can happen on these hills if people have too much energy leading in. So at this moment, I decide to crank the pace in the hopes of tiring out the rest of the pack before the hill. I feel that if we're all fairly tired at the start, that will give me the best odds at winning, as I can control the ride up the final hill. Interestingly, no one takes the bait though, and instead I find myself building a gradual lead on the Peaky. Now I'm thinking, let me try and maintain a gap using as least energy as possible. All I want is to keep them on their toes. I am not even that concerned about them catching me or not. At this point, I have built up a 7-second lead, but I feel I am starting to drain too much of my energy. So I take my foot off the throttle a bit and start just kind of focusing on keeping fairly high wattage. So I know the other guys are working while preserving energy at the same time for the hill. And yes, slowly but surely the other guys close the gap. However, it does not matter because I got my intended effect as we will see on this final climb. These guys all pass me now, thinking this idiot just wasted all of his energy on a pointless breakout. Although that is far from the truth, instead everything is going according to the plan. So for the beginning of the climb here, we are averaging around 325 watts. Everyone is together. My thoughts are to just maintain 325 watts no matter the grade of the slope, and constantly keep the pressure up, allowing for no breaks at all, even in the flatter portions. The group stays together pretty well through this first part. Seems like this could be anyone's race, and that it will likely come to a photo finish. However, a key fact here is that I am the only one who has not used their feather power up yet. So if it comes down to a final sprint, I have the advantage. I don't think they know I still have my power up too, but I know they have all used theirs. Now we approach the final hauled mile. I am obviously tired, but I think I am less tired than the rest of them, considering I have basically been leading the pack through this climb. So I crank up the watts even more into the higher 300s to try and see if I can put any distance on anyone in the pack. And surely I start to see them slip a second off me, and then I know that they're hurting. As we approach the final steep part of the climb, with just 0.3 left, I know this is the perfect time to hit the feather power up and give it all I got.
This is when the despair hits for them.
I am fairly confident that they are taken off guard by my feather power up, and unless they can significantly outkick me, it will be tough for them to pass me now. 500 feet left, and I still have some feather left. Just going all out until the end here. Smesser actually mounts a very good final push here, within a second of me. I see this and push as hard as I can and just barely secure the victory.
Victory Royale! Victory Royale!